In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to use a grid to create accurate drawings. These drawings can be used to start a painting, a graphite drawing, or even a colored pencil piece. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to be creating a 9x9 graphite drawing on a piece of sulfite paper. My photograph is 4.5 by 4.5 inches, which means it's exactly half the size of the final image that I'm wanting to create. With this information, I'm going to go in with a pink colored pencil and put a mark at every ½ inch on my photograph. This is because if I used a regular pencil, the gray and the black and white would blend together and you wouldn't see where the lines are, making it more difficult to complete the task that we're trying to create. You'll notice that I did 3 different sets of ½ inch marks, one at the top, one at the middle, and one at the bottom. This is going to ensure that my lines are perfectly straight and evenly spaced throughout, giving me exactly 1-inch strips from top to bottom, from one side of the photograph to the other. To complete the grid, I will create a ½ inch mark on both the left and right side, and then connect to make a full grid. Now that we have the photograph complete, we need to complete the same process that we did with the grid on whatever surface we're going to use to duplicate the image. For this example, I'm going to be using the white sulfite paper, but again, you could do this on canvas, wood, whatever you need to transfer and enlarge an image on. Make sure that you make your lines really light, otherwise you'll have to go back and erase them. The important thing to see is the image, not the lines or the method that you used in order to create those nice crisp lines. Here in a second, I'm going to show you what it would look like if I would have used a heavier hand to create this grid, but know that it's there and know that this is way easier than having to go back and erase. For just a minute, I'm going to go back to that darker grid and show you what we're doing with it. The grid that we drew on the photograph is kind of like a map, showing us where we need to stop and start our line and giving us an easy guide to follow to create an accurate drawing. I'm starting in the first square on both the photograph and my blank paper. As you can see, there's an arcing line that starts here in the middle of the first square. I'll begin drawing in the middle of the first square on the sulfite paper. Looking closely at the square on the photo, you notice that the line slopes up and to the right, meeting the line just above the halfway point on the square. By paying close attention to these lines, not only do I get an accurate drawing, but my mind kind of starts to focus on what I see in that square instead of the whole picture, making it a lot less intimidating to do very detailed work and very realistic work. Now, this is how I'm actually drawing my real paper, nice and light, but the lighting wasn't great and you couldn't really see what I was doing when I was working this light on the camera. I wanted to give you a little better visual, so I went back and redid the first few squares on the darker grid just so you could really see what was going on. Moving on to the real image, you can see I'm working really lightly, just giving myself a nice bone structure to work from in order to go back and add my value later. Another technique, if your brain is taking over, is to try drawing sideways or upside down. When you change the orientation that your image is in from an orientation that your brain's used to seeing it, it abstracts it further, making it line instead of an object. So if you're struggling, this is something you might try to help. Continue drawing square by square until you have a completed image. After this, you can go in and add value or color or whatever your artistic heart desires.